Okay, this is question 3. Okay, you can see question 3, and I'm just going to zap up the top and have a look. We are looking at chance and data. Okay, 2011 chance and data. Okay, now first, before we're going to do anything, we're going to read this graph. Temperatures in Nairobi. Okay, so here we've got January 07. We've got a maximum of 25 degrees and a minimum of, let me see, that's going to be 12.5, so it's going to be about 12 degrees, isn't it? Okay. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So that's 1 year from there to there. Does that pattern repeat at all? February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. Those 2 Januaries are low, aren't they? Just sort of low in January, hot in April. April's the hottest month both times. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So we're seeing a sort of a pattern there for the year. So it's going up, then down, then up, then down, up, then down, then up, then down, up, then down, then up, then down. That's for our lower temperatures. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So April had the highest minimum, but the highest is actually February, isn't it, for the maximum temperature. So it's almost like a delayed reaction for the lower temperature. Anyhow, enough of that, but you get the idea that you've got to read the graph and look for patterns. Oh, look at this. Temperatures in Rome. My goodness, notice the difference. They're way more the same than this. They sort of don't quite go in sync quite as much. Right. The graphs on page 8 show the monthly average minimum and maximum temperatures in each city for 3 years, from 2007 to 2009. Richard decides to move to Rome because he thinks the temperature in Rome is higher than the temperature in Nairobi, so Rome is warmer. The maximum temperature in Rome peaks every year, which is more pleasant to live in. The temperature in Rome is less variable over a year, so it's more pleasant. The temperature appears to be rising in Rome, so it's warmer in the future. There is less difference between the maximum and minimum in Rome, so it'll be more comfortable. Use the graphs to answer each of these points. You do not need to explain why climate features happen. We're talking about the statistics. Okay. Is Richard correct to believe that the temperature in Rome is higher than the temperature in Nairobi, so Rome is warmer? Okay. Well, in Rome here, we're varying between 12.5 and 27.5, just very roughly. Let's have a look here. Oh, but this minimum... The minimum maximum for the day is like 20 degrees. So if we're looking at our max for the day, then the days are actually always over 20 in Nairobi, and they can be as low as 12.5 in Rome. But what's happening with our minimum temperatures? That's between 5 and maybe 17. 5 and 17, and this is between 10 and 17. So this is, again, it's warmer. It's warmer in Nairobi. Let's have a look what the answers here. No, both maximum and min are generally higher in Nairobi much of the year. Correctly interpret the graphs of the maximum or minimum temperature. So we're all about graph reading. It doesn't really matter what you say, so long as you actually say no, he's wrong. And yeah, answer the question, I guess. So the next one. Comment how the maximum and minimum temperatures in the two cities vary over a year. So you could just state what's on the graph, like just what I was saying before, is that the minimum temperatures in Rome range from 5 to approximately 17.5. The maximum temperatures for Rome range from 12.5 to 27.5, that kind of thing. Major peaks in both cases: Rome maximum min in July, September; Nairobi maximum February, minimum April. Also minor peaks. Loose or vague is achieved. Correctly describing major seasonal effects in the graphs for the maximum and minimum temperatures. So we're looking at the seasonal effect. Correctly describing one finer detail in the season effects in the graphs. So let's look at the question again. And the question said, comment how the maximum and minimum cities vary over a year. So we're back to reading the graph, saying that in Rome, the max and min, somewhere around July, are the highest, which suggests summer, and somewhere around January are the lowest, which represents winter. Okay. Oh. What's the next one? They've redrawn the graphs, reprinted from page 8. Okay. Alright. Richard has been told that both the maximum and minimum temperatures vary less in Rome than they do in Nairobi. Do the graphs support this? I thought we'd just actually talked about that. Less in Rome? No. Rome was between 5 to 17.5 for the minimum temperature. And the minimum temperature in Nairobi went from 10, somewhere between 10 to 14. So here you've only got about a 4. And here you've got 12.5. So you need to have those numbers in the sentence. So let's have a look. No, much less variation over the year in Nairobi in both maximum and minimum. So you're reading the graph. Okay. Richard thinks the temperature appears to be rising in Rome, so it will get warmer in the future. Do you agree? So let's have a look at Rome. Is it rising? So let's have a look at, that's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So that's that January and that January. And that's this January. So if we link the Januaries up, is it going up? I don't think so. If we link the Julys, are they going up? I don't think so. If we look at July, August, is that going up? Not really. And here, again, if we try and link these in, no. it's not, I can't see any trend upwards there in Rome. No, there is an indiscernible rise in either set of temperatures. Okay. Okay, so the finer detail is maybe, that's slightly bigger each time, but it's really infinitesimal. It's not statistically valid. Okay, what's the next question? Richard thinks that the temperature appears to be rising in Rome. No, we've done that. The difference between the maximum and minimum temperature is less in Rome. Okay, so in Rome, we've got between 5 and 12, so it's at about 7. What's this here? So we're looking at this difference, and the difference seems to stay constant, doesn't it? So I'm just doing very roughly 17 to 25. So you can have a look at this and say, okay, what is that distance there? And then compare it with Nairobi. So here we've got maybe 12, and here we've got 25. So that difference there of 13. So you can have a look at these differences and say, is it bigger? And I'd say, yeah, it seems to be bigger. And that seems to be smaller. And you need to look a bit closer. Yes, the difference between maximum and minimum temperature is usually lower in Rome, 8 to 10, and Nairobi is 10 to 14. So notice those values in there. Okay. So you actually need those values to get your merit. Okay. What's the next one? Richard wants to live somewhere warm. Should he choose Rome or Nairobi? Justify your answer by referring to the graphs. Discuss any limitations in the data or any other research you need before you make a valid decision. So he wants to live somewhere warm. Now, we've got the fact that this, Nairobi, is quite consistently warm during the day, but here at night we're getting down to 10 degrees, and here we're getting down to 5. You look at that, this is actually colder. But at night here, you're getting up to 17, whereas at night, the max you're getting up to is 14. So basically here, you're seeing a bigger gap between daytime and nighttime. So long as you can have a heater at night, you'll be fine. Let's have a look what the answer says. Oh, yeah, well, there you go, outside the box. You might be interested in rainfall and wind before you make your final decision. Oh, whoops. It's not the one we're looking at. We're looking at this one. But we don't see that there are only... Wow, this is all qualifications. So in the marking scheme we've got 2 Fs, one for qualifications and one for recommendations. Recommend Nairobi if you like predictable temperatures over the year with small variation in temperatures each month. Rome if you like variation between summer and winter, but less variation in temperatures each month. But hang on,